The following is a presentation of RMG Sports, award-winning championship television.
Hi, I'm Murray Gerber, Chairman and CEO of EQT Corporation. We are pleased to be the title sponsor of the EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta and tonight's EQT Flashes of Freedom Fireworks Fantasia. It's been a great year for EQT, with plenty of changes, including the renaming of our company. EQT is the largest natural gas producer in the Appalachian Basin and the 14th largest in the nation. The development of the Marcellus Shale will create thousands of new local jobs related to the natural gas industry and to the local economy in general. If you'd like to learn more, visit us at EQT.com. I invite you to sit back and watch the EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta.
From the banks of the Allegheny River on Pittsburgh's North Shore, it's Powerboat Superleague racing at the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta. Hello again, everyone. I'm Jared Romsberg, alongside my partner Mike Tilton, ready to bring you all the action from an exciting day of racing here in Pittsburgh. Michael, great day, great weather, lots of fans. The Powerboat Superleague is here, ready to rock.
Well, I tell you what, Jared, this is one of the longest running powerboat racing regattas in the world, along with the longest running racing series in the world. So we're just adding to the history of the racing here in Pittsburgh, and the drivers are geared up and ready to go.
Both divisions of the Powerboat Superleague are racing here today, both the Formula 2 and Formula 3. Formula 3 starting their 2009 season here, so when you're talking about the Formula 3s, got to talk about their defending champion, Brent Dillard.
Absolutely. Brent's from Dalzell, South Carolina, and he's also a college basketball player. They got the best equipment in the world, one of the best drivers in the world. He's going to be tough to beat.
Fans here in Pittsburgh may be more familiar with the Formula 2 boats that are also racing here today, and they already have one race under their belt this year. Mark Jacob came out on top in Peoria.
Absolutely. That was his first win on the Super League circuit. Great to see a new guy jump up to the top rung. But the defending champion is here. That's Donnie McDowell out of Orlando, Florida. And Donnie's got something to prove. He didn't like losing that first race.
So much going on here today, Mike, both on and off the water. And we've got all the action as our coverage of the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta continues right after this.
The 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta's presentation of Powerboat Superleague Racing is brought to you by EQT, where energy meets innovation. La Roche College, your lead in life begins at La Roche. By Rivers Casino, this is your casino, Pittsburgh. River Quest Explorer, science, discovery, and adventure in one amazing floating classroom. And by ISM USA, a national leader in sports, event, and cause marketing. Let ISM USA lead the way. This segment of Powerboat Superleague Racing is brought to you by EQT, where energy meets innovation.
Welcome back to the Steel City as our coverage of Powerboat Superleague's racing at the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta continues. Fans continue to pour onto the North Shore as well as Point State Park as race time draws nearer. Of course, there's much more than powerboat racing at the Three Rivers Regatta. Exciting events were happening throughout the area. In Point State Park, seven-time national champion Mike Steadley was showing off his skills as part of the Over the Mountain Bike Stunt Show. Mike did some things with his bike that, dare I say, none of the rest of us would dare do. At least, not as successfully as Mike does it. And if you prefer your bikes to have a motor attached, the Regatta had you covered with the Red Bull TNT Freestyle Motocross Show. When these guys got airborne, it was time to show off to the thousands watching from the lawn on the North Shore. And if you thought these guys got some altitude, check out this little slice of Pittsburgh history. Nick Wallenda, world record-holding high wire performer, was set to walk on a wire across the Allegheny River. Nick, who is a seventh-generation wire walker, was raised up over 200 feet in the air onto the top of a crane in downtown Pittsburgh. He then stepped out onto a wire the diameter of a nickel and began his trek of over 1,000 feet across the Allegheny River. Walking 200 feet above the water, Nick had no net or safety equipment. Thousands had gathered on both sides of the river and across the Roberto Clemente Bridge to watch with held breath as Nick braved wind and light rain during his trek. From time to time, Nick even stopped and took a break, kneeling down on the wire to the astonishment of the fans below. Roughly 20 minutes later, Nick completed his record-breaking feat and was lowered into the sea of cheering Pittsburghers who welcomed him back to terra firma. Afterwards, Nick had this to say.
What an honor it is, as I said earlier, to be here in the City of Champions performing. It was an amazing walk. It felt amazing. The view is amazing up there. As I said, what an honor it is.
Now, let's move from 200 feet above to right down onto the water with Powerboat Superleague Formula 3 qualifying. Here's how we determine how the boats will line up when the green drops. We start by having each boat run a single timed lap around the race course. The boat with the fastest lap earns the pole position for the first of 2 heat races. Formula 3 boats race 10-lap heat races. The Formula 2s race 15 laps. In the second heat race, the field is inverted, putting the faster boats to the rear for that race. Points are awarded for each phase. The boat with the most points earns the pole position for the feature race. In the first heat race, defending champ Brent Dillard had the pole when they launched from the dock, with 7 Sammy Miller in tow. Early in the race, 16 Carol Reno and Mike Hooper were fighting for third. Hooper took the position out of turn 4. Hooper then set his sights on the second place Miller, but Sammy kept the hammer down and kept the Magic Man in third. Brent Dillard avoided all of these battles and went on to win the first heat. In the second F3 heat race, the field was inverted as they shot back onto the race course. This time it was the 52 of the Magic Man, Mike Hooper, leading the field in the early laps. But it didn't take Brent Dillard long to track Hooper down. Then Hooper surrendered the inside line and Dillard moved by, taking the lead. The defending series champs stayed in front and went on to victory in Heat Race 2. With qualifying complete, let's meet the top 3 drivers in the Formula 3 field at the EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta. Kankakee, Illinois, Sammy Miller earned the 3rd place slot. He's a veteran driver and he knows the hard work has just begun.
It's going to take a lot of effort. It's definitely getting rough out there as the race goes on, especially with 20 laps. It's going to get a lot worse than it was just 10. And hopefully we can get her up front.
Markham, Ontario, Canada's Mike Hooper will start second. Despite starting towards the front, he was not happy with his effort.
Well, it started off the dock. My motor choked a little bit, and then it came strong, and I got down to the bottom pin first and came about, and Brent was leading on me, and we got a little close, and I gave him a door, and he gave me a door, and he got a little bit ahead of me, and I just kept her cool after that.
And starting on the pole is the defending F3 Series champ Brent Dillard. He's still getting used to the rough water on the Allegheny.
Yeah, it's my first time here in Pittsburgh. The course is a little rough. Turns 3 and 4 are pretty hard to turn in. But it's a really good race course. I like racing in the middle of the city, right here at Heinz Field, even though I'm a Cowboys fan.
Well, we won't hold that against you. Now, if you were a Browns fan, that'd be a different story. Here's the rest of the Formula 3 starters. Okeechobee, Florida's Carol Reno will start 4th. Another Canadian, Paul Orchard from Brampton, Ontario, will start 5th. Starting 6th off the dock is Sparta, Georgia's Chip Wavero. In 7th, we find veteran driver Bill Mastro from Punta Gorda, Florida. Dane Bunting from Powell, Ohio qualified 8th but will not start the race. A fellow Buckeye, Dave Hensel from Hamilton, Ohio, will start 9th. Clifton, Illinois' Tammy Wolf-Jacob, driving for the Hard Rock Cafe, will start 10th off the dock. And the lone Pennsylvanian Toby Hood from O'Connellstown will start in the 11th position. That's how they'll line up. We'll go Formula 3 racing at the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta right after this.
This segment of Powerboat Superleague Racing is brought to you by La Roche College. Your lead in life begins at La Roche.
Welcome back to Pittsburgh, as we are now less than a minute away from the start of the Formula 3 feature race here at the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta. The crowd is working their way from the events to the banks of the Allegheny to watch the first of two feature races this afternoon. We take one more look at the starting order and see the defending champ Brent Dillard perched at the top with Mike Cooper, Sammy Miller, Carol Reno, and others waiting for their chance at victory. Waiting for the green to fly, and it does, and we are underway in Pittsburgh. The fleet of Formula 3 boats approaches turns 3 and 4 as we ride along with Sammy Miller with Carol Reno to his right. Down the front stretch, and as they cross the start-finish line to start taking away the 20 laps of this feature race, we find the defending champion Brent Dillard in the lead. That is a familiar sight to Super League fans. The South Carolina native is the defending Powerboat Superleague F3 champion. But this guy, Mike Cooper, is doing everything in his power to stay close to Dillard, as is third place Sammy Miller. Cooper makes his way into turns 3 and 4 with Sammy Miller in tow. Chip Waverose coming on strong against Carol Reno for the 4th place spot. We join Sammy Miller inside the cockpit of the 7 boat, giving you fans an interesting view of what it's like to pilot one of these rockets. Obviously not a smooth ride at all, as they skip across the surface of the Allegheny here in Pittsburgh at over 80 miles per hour. Our leader Brent Dillard is checking out early, trying to build up as much of a lead as possible in the early laps of this 20-lap feature. Through 3 and 4 and back onto the front stretch. Inside the cockpit with our leader now, Dillard is from Dalzell, South Carolina, and was a dominant force in the Super League in 2008. Second place Mike Cooper is anxious to get back into victory lane. His last trip there was last season when he earned his first Super League win at High Point, North Carolina. Down the backstretch, we see the beautiful skyline of Pittsburgh, as well as all of the fans at Point State Park. Cooper is one of only a handful of drivers who still drives a boat with an open cockpit, as we see as we ride along. Through 3 and 4 with PNC Park zooming through our shot here at the EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta. Sammy Miller's in third and is exiting turn 4. What a great view as we pass under the Fort Duquesne Bridge and come up to the tens of thousands of fans here in Pittsburgh today. Always a great turnout for the powerboats at the regatta. As Miller heads through turns 1 and 2, Chip Wavero has a run on Carol Reno for 4th. Reno had trouble out of 2, and Wavero is trying to capitalize, moving to the inside. Down the backstretch they fly as they come up on turn 3. Wavero looks to be reeling Reno in. They hold their lines, and Wavero has the inside groove on Reno. Reno punches the throttle and keeps Wavero to the rear. Carol Reno is one of several female drivers in the Powerboat Super League. The Okeechobee, Florida native is a member of one of 2 husband-wife teams in this series. Wavero is back to fight for 4th. He tries the inside line again out of 2, but Reno powers away yet again. Wavero is fighting hard for position early here in Pittsburgh, trying desperately to catch up to Reno and try to catch up to our leader, who is in another zip code right now. Dillard is already in turns 1 and 2 as we follow 3rd, 4th, and 5th down the front stretch. Wavero still behind Reno, but here comes Toby Hood. Toby Hood is flying into turn 1. We ride on board with Toby Hood as Wavero now must focus on what is behind him, as well as try to get by Carol Reno for position, because Hood is coming on strong. Riding on board with Toby Hood, the lone Pennsylvanian in the fleet today. Hood hails from McConnellstown, which is near Altoona, and he looks to be picking up some ground on the 5th place Chip Wavero. Through 3 and 4, and Hood is within 3 boat lengths of the 5th place Wavero. But Wavero stays ahead as they fly down the front stretch past the start-finish line on lap 7. Toby Hood is only in his 2nd year of racing in the Powerboat Super League. He earned Rookie of the Year honors last season and finished in the top 10 in the championship points. as he heads through 1 and 2 again. Hood continues his pursuit of Chip Wavero, who is trying to catch up to Carroll Reno. In the meantime, our leader, Brent Dillard, is amassing a huge lead over the pack. Dillard gets by the lapped boat of Bill Mastro as he continues to outshine the competition in the Steel City this afternoon. Dillard is already on the backstretch as we hop on board. As Dillard moves through 3 and 4 and by Paul Orchard, we'll take a break. With 8 laps in the books, Dillard, Hooper, Miller, Reno, and Wavero are your top 5. More from the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta right after this.
This segment of Powerboat Superleague Racing is brought to you by GoPro Motorsports Hero Cameras. Be a hero.
Welcome back to the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta, where we are under caution, and here's why. Watch the bottom of your screen. That, my friends, was Chip Wavero, and that is what we call a blowover. Here's a better look from turn 1 so you can see what happened. Wavero had moved alongside of Carroll Reno, fighting for the 4th place position. He gets too much air under the boat and he lifts right up under the Fort Duquesne Bridge, landing wrong side up in the Allegheny River. The best in the business, the Powerboat Superleague safety crew was alongside in seconds with divers in the water to help Chip to the surface. Chip came up on his own and was okay. They helped him to the safety boat where he would get checked out. Again, Chip Wavero was okay, but his boat was too badly damaged to return. Remember that huge lead Brent Dillard had? Well, it's gone as they line back up for the restart with just 6 laps remaining. The green flies again and we are back underway with Dillard leading the fleet to the hole shot in Pittsburgh. Sammy Miller and Mike Hooper are side by side for second. Hooper slides by as they shoot into turn 3. 3-wide battle for 4th as Carroll Reno is fighting off Dave Hensel in the pink 8 boat of Tammy Wolf Jacob. Hensel pushes Jacob wide out of turn 3 and Toby Hood slides underneath. But look at Hensel flying by on the outside. Dave Hensel is driving the prop off of that boat, but so is this guy, Brent Dillard. He has picked up right where he left off before the Wavero crash. Mike Hooper is again playing catch-up with that orange 80 boat, and Dave Hensel has moved to the outside to challenge Carroll Reno for 4th, with Toby Hood on the inside. Late race drama for position as the 3 drivers fly down the backstretch. Hensel takes the outside line into turn 3, and Hood scoots inside. But look at Hensel. He's got that throttle bent down and goes nose to nose with Hood as they pass under the Fort Duquesne Bridge. Dave Hensel is riding just to the right of Toby Hood at well over 80 miles per hour. Hood has the inside line as they move through 1 and 2, just a few feet apart. Hood has the preferred line and he hits the gas out of the turn. But Hensel stays to the outside as both boats are coming up on the 4th place Carroll Reno. Hensel is still within striking distance as they come up on turn 3. Oh, and Reno took the turn 2 wide, and now Toby Hood has moved to the inside. Side by side, and look at the power behind Reno. She finds an extra gear somewhere and explodes away from Hood on the front stretch. Hood stays on it and is giving Reno a run for her money for the 4th place spot with just 4 laps remaining. Reno powers ahead and puts some distance between herself and the charging Toby Hood. Dave Hensel could be having some engine trouble or some trouble with his boat. He's fallen behind and is no longer a factor as we watch Carroll Reno pass through 3 and 4 with Toby Hood in hot pursuit. Oh yeah, remember this guy? There's your leader, Brent Dillard. He's already on the backstretch as he restarted his dominating performance right off the dock after the caution. You can see that he's keeping an eye in his mirrors as Mike Hooper is behind him. Dillard cannot let up despite being several seconds ahead of the 52. Dillard and Hooper are good friends off of the water, but put them inside their boats and the friendship ends as a friendly rivalry between the two continues. Hooper and Dillard are often at the top of the results sheet, but it has been Brent Dillard getting the top spot more often as we're seeing today. Hooper is looking to improve from 2008 and earn the championship as the Powerboat Superleague's Formula 3 2009 season kicks off in style here in Pittsburgh. Sammy Miller has had a good day, holding that 3rd place spot for the duration of the race. At this late stage, and with the leader being that far ahead, I think Miller's going to be content with the final spot on the podium. He's just focused on hitting his marks and keeping the boat upright as we come up to the white flag. As our third place driver comes into turns 3 and 4, our leader has a full straightaways length lead over the pack. Brent Dillard comes through 1 and 2 for one last time. The South Carolinian has simply dominated every facet of the Formula 3 racing this year in Pittsburgh. He was the fastest qualifier, he won both heat races, and he's just about to take the checker. Here he comes down the front stretch, and the fans are on their feet. We ride along with Brent Dillard as he completes a dominating performance. The vibrant thing, Brent Dillard is your Formula 3 winner at the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta. Mike Cooper takes second. Sammy Miller will capture third. We'll catch up with our finishers coming up in our post-race show as we ride along with our winner. More from the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta right after this.
This segment of Powerboat Super League Racing is brought to you by SuperLeagueMedia.com. For DVDs of this and other races as well as bonus video, visit SuperLeagueMedia.com.
Welcome to our Formula 3 post-race show. Here's Mike Tilton with our third place finisher.
Thanks, Jared. Here in Formula 3 action, third place went to Sammy Miller, the 2005 national champion. And Sammy, lots of rough water out there, but a lot of good boats. You did a great job, my friend.
Yeah, it was getting rough there after about 10 laps. It started getting back, to being pretty rough. But we survived it, and we come out all right. So we're looking forward to the next race.
Carol Reno and Dave Hensel round out the top 5. Bad news for Toby Hood. The lone Pennsylvania driver took out a buoy during the race and was penalized a lap, dropping him from 5th to 8th. Now Mike is caught up with our second place finisher, Mike.
Thanks, Jared. Standing here with the man out of Markham, Ontario, Canada, Magic Man, Mike Hooper. And Mike, I tell you what, your boat was fast today and the water was rough. You did a great job. Came up just a little bit short.
Well, thanks a lot, Mike. Yes, definitely one of the roughest races course I've ever raced in my life. But we kept her together and kept her right side up and got a nice trophy out of it, and couldn't be happier.
Brent Dillard starts 2009 the way he ended 2008, on top of the Formula 3 championship points, ahead of Mike Cooper. Miller, Carol Reno, and Paul Orchard round out the top 5. Now Mike is with our winner in Pittsburgh, Mike.
Thanks, Jared. Standing here now with the winner in Formula 3 action here at the EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta, Brent Dillard. And Brent, I tell you, you drove a heck of a race, my friend. You had a lot of competition out there, and the water was just as rough as could be.
Oh yeah, the water's really rough. It was really hard holding it down, the turns, and also the straightaway with the bridge. The air was getting up under the boat. It was tough in the turns, the more challenging turns, and the competition was really good. And then when we had the restart, because Chip had to blow over, so we had to restart. I built a pretty good lead, and then the restart had to shorten my lead up. But I was able to do the last 6 laps and get a win.
Thanks, Mike, and congratulations to Brent Dillard. Fans are still pouring in because we're only halfway done at the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta. The big boats, the Formula 2s, are coming up right after this.
This segment of Powerboat Super League Racing is brought to you by ISM USA, a national leader in sports event and cause marketing. Let ISM USA lead the way.
Welcome back to Powerboat Super League Racing at the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta. While we have a break in the action after an exciting Formula 3 race, let's take a look at some of the other features and events at this year's regatta. Since its start over 30 years ago, the Three Rivers Regatta has always been about family entertainment. In fact, this year, the CBS Radio Pittsburgh Calling All Kids Zone was a great place for families to have some fun with the inflatables and interactive games. Federal Street was also home to the spacious Skies High rock climbing wall. Kids of all ages suited up and tested their strength and agility as they reached high into the Pittsburgh sky. There were dozens of events and attractions, all geared towards providing an entire weekend of fun and exciting things to do, see, and enjoy. And what would a trip to the regatta be without the food? From the traditional to the more exotic, there was a large menu of items that was sure to please every palate and quench every thirst on this beautiful summer weekend. An estimated crowd of nearly 500,000 fans attended the regatta, many of which came to hear the nearly 24 bands who were performing. The feature performers at the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta was the band Three Dog Night. They took to the Point State Park stage and rocked the crowd with many of their 21 top 40 hits. Then, after the show, spectators had their 4th of July topped off in style with the EQT Flashes of Freedom Fireworks Fantasia. All of these events and so much more made the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta one for the ages.
Well, let me say this. ISM USA promised us that this would be the most spectacular regatta this city has ever seen. The regatta, we're in our 32nd year. I've been on the board 24 of those years, and I can vouch for the fact that it has been absolutely outstanding. Three Dog Nights, for those of us who remember them, that's quite exciting. For the young folks who may not know who they are, they're going to recognize their music. And people that you see here, when you see the chairs set up and the blankets, they're not moving. They'll be here for the fireworks. And there's nothing more exciting than these powerboats flying around our rivers.
Exciting indeed, so let's get them flying. Here are the highlights from the Formula 2 qualifying races. Defending Formula 2 Series champion Donnie McDowell was awarded the pole in Heat Race 1 when Jeff Reno was forced to bow out due to engine trouble. He and Lee Daniel led the field for the launch. Meanwhile, Mark Jacob in the 7 and 37 Jeff Shepard were fighting tooth and nail. Jacob made a tiny error and Shepard shot by in a blink, moving the Stars and Stripes to 3rd. But this race belonged to the 3 boat of Donnie McDowell as he went on to victory. With the field inverted, Heat Race 2 started with Mark Jacob leading the field to the first turns. Jacob built up a huge lead over 18 Del Book, 4 Howie Nichols, and the rest of the field. Bad luck struck the second place Book as he spun in turn 2 and lost position after position as Howie Nichols and others went right by. He had a zip code's length of distance away from the field, and Mark Jacob went on to victory in the second heat race. So, with qualifying complete, let's meet the top 3 Formula 2 qualifying. Starting 3rd is North Augusta, South Carolina's Lee Daniel. Daniel is a veteran driver and knows the Allegheny will be challenging.
The water is rough. It's about survival out there. If you hold on for the 30 laps and finish this up, you're going to be out in front.
In the second place slot is the defending F2 Series champ, Donnie McDowell. He would like to be on the pole, but he thinks he's okay in second.
It's an advantage to be on the pole for sure, but there's some good places to pass out there because everybody's going to get in trouble sooner or later, and if you can capitalize on somebody else's mistake, that's the only way you're going to get past them.
And starting on the pole is our F2 championship points leader, Mark Jacob. He knows the dock is loaded with worthy opponents.
Yeah, there's a lot of good boats out here. Donnie McDowell and Lee Daniels, they're both good. Really kind of concerned about Howie Nichols. He's running really well here. I think this is, water and of course it suits his boat and that new motor just fine.
Let's meet the rest of the Formula 2 lineup here in Pittsburgh. Woodlawn, Tennessee's Jeff Shepard will start 4th. Howie Nichols from Cocoa, Florida is 5th. The 6th slot is held by R.S. Argenian from Gainesville, Georgia. Del Book from Portsmouth, Ohio starts 7th. Jeff Reno from Okeechobee, Florida will be the last starter in the 8th place slot. Barry Wolf and Johnny Fleming experience trouble and will not start. That's your starting grid. Grab a friend, grab a drink, grab a flotation device. We're going Formula 2 racing at the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta right after this.
This segment of Powerboat Superleague Racing is brought to you by Rivers Casino. This is your casino, Pittsburgh.
Welcome back to the Steel City in the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta. The crowd continues to grow on both sides of the Allegheny because we are now seconds away from the start of the Powerboat Superleague's Formula 2 feature. We take another quick look at the lineup. There's our points leader, Mark Jacob, sitting on the pole with a field of drivers eager to take the top spot away. We now head to the North Shore for the calm before the storm. Canopies are closed, fuel pumps are on, drivers have their fingers on the trigger, waiting to launch on the green flag. The flag flies and the Formula 2s are underway in Pittsburgh. Riding on board with Mark Jacob, Donnie McDowell and Lee Daniel are in his hip pocket as they dive into turn 3. Jacob had trouble. He got out of the throttle, and now he has to pick up the pieces as the field swarms like hornets in his wake. Mark Jacob holds the lead as the laps start to tick off of this 30-lap challenge. McDowell moves alongside. McDowell went too wide out of 2, and Jeff Shepard moves alongside for second. The field is 4 wide behind him for 4th. Into the eye of the storm aboard Howie Nichols' boat with Dale Book less than a yard away at over 120 miles per hour. And look at the silver 34 of Jeff Reno. That boat was last on the dock, and Reno is blowing through the field like they're standing still. Howie Nichols won't surrender easily. He follows Reno into turn 1. But Reno moves through the turns with ease and leaves his fellow Floridian in his wake. There's the leader, Mark Jacobs, smartly staying on the throttle and getting away from the pack. Donnie McDowell is still under attack from the 37 boat of Jeff Shepard. But here comes Reno. Reno to the inside of Shepard, and down the front stretch they come. Side by side as they come out from under the Fort Duquesne Bridge and into turn 1. Reno backs off as Shepard beats him to the punch. But Shepard went too wide, and Reno slides to the inside. Side by side as they pass by the bleachers at Point State Park. Reno inches ahead and skips across the surface of the Allegheny for 3rd. Shepard stays to the outside out of 4 and shows some serious horsepower on the front stretch. They split the bridge as Shepard again pulls alongside of Reno. Coming down the front stretch. Into 1 they go. Shepard is still alongside. Fans are on their feet. Side by side as they come out of 2 behind second place McDowell. Reno to the inside, Shepard to the outside. Reno again holds 3rd and has his sights set on the second place Donnie McDowell, who we ride with. Mark Jacobs still in the lead. McDowell makes it through the turn cleanly, and Reno and Shepard are back at it again. This time it's the Stars and Stripes of Shepard on the inside as they split the bridge once again. Reno bounces his way into 1, and out of 2 he goes wide. Here comes Shepard on the inside of Reno. But this time Jeff Reno powers ahead and keeps Shepard in 4th. This is one of the most exciting races I've ever seen, and we're only 4 laps into this 30-lap main event. Jeff Reno in 3rd, Jeff Shepard in 4th, putting on a whale of a show for the fans here in Pittsburgh. Jeff Shepard tries wide on the outside of turn 4 again. We catch up with our leader, Mark Jacob. He's flying out in front, but the rest of the field is keeping him within their grasp. We ride on board, looking over the nose of our leader, Mark Jacob. Lap traffic is coming up, and he will have to move around it with a swarm of hornets on his tail. He's coming up on Ara Sargenian in turn 4, and he smartly moves out of the way. Like in auto racing, these drivers have spotters keeping them up to date throughout the race. Here we can see the large lead Jacob has. There is second place Donnie McDowell, now coming up on turn 1. He's our defending series champion, and he's trying to get back into the points lead after his disappointing 4th place finish in the F2 season opener in Peoria. We'll hop on board with Donnie McDowell as we go to break with 7 laps on the books. Jacob, McDowell, Reno, Shepard, and Nichols are your top 5. More from Pittsburgh right after this.
This segment of Powerboat Superleague Racing is brought to you by the American Powerboat Association. Learn more at apba-racing.com.
Welcome back to the Formula 2 feature race here at the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta. There is our leader, Mark Jacob. He has led every lap of this race thus far, but he is coming under attack from the second place driver, Donnie McDowell. McDowell and 3rd place Jeff Reno are fighting tooth and nail to catch up with the leader and have slowly been reeling him in. While McDowell is trying to move forward, he has to be looking in the mirrors because that silver 34 has been on a tear. Jeff Reno started at the back of the pack and has been flying past boats on his way to the front. McDowell has moved to within 2 boat lengths of the leader, Jacob. And Jeff Reno is coming alongside to spoil the party. Reno to the outside of McDowell. Side by side for second down the backstretch. McDowell and Reno are nose to nose for second. Reno pulls ahead as they come into turn 3. Reno takes the spot and Jacob almost blows over trying to get away from Reno. Here comes Reno on the outside for the lead. Reno cut Jacob off and moves to the front. Listen to the fans. You can hear the cheers over the engines here in Pittsburgh. Jeff Reno has gone from worst to first, starting at the end of the dock, and now takes the lead with less than 10 laps remaining. An amazing run for Reno, who could be on his way to his first win in nearly 20 years, and his first career win in Powerboat Superleague competition. Reno has the throttle mashed, but whoa, he has to be careful. He would not be the first race leader to be swallowed up by the Allegheny here in Pittsburgh. Now Donnie McDowell has a run on Jacob for second. McDowell has moved to the inside of our points leader and is starting to pester Jacob for second. Down the backstretch they come and into turn 3. Jacob makes the turn cleanly and now has to get back on the gas to keep our defending series champ behind him. Here they come down the front stretch and McDowell has a run on Jacob again. Oh, turn 2 catches Jacob again and he almost spins, and McDowell happily takes second from the red 7. McDowell hits the gas. He is running out of laps to try to catch up to and pass Jeff Reno for the win. McDowell needs a good finish here in Pittsburgh. He is currently 4th in points, and every point is precious throughout the Powerboat Superleague season. We ride with Mark Jacob as he tries the outside line. The wind and water are rough and make it difficult to hit top speed without the risk of blowing over in the waning laps of the F2 feature here in Pittsburgh. And from out of nowhere comes Jeff Shepard to challenge Jacob for third on the inside. Shepard was a factor in the early laps, but we didn't hear too much from him until now. Shepard is on the inside and whoa, inches apart at over 120 miles per hour. Out of 4 comes Jacob, and Shepard is shooting for the outside line on the front stretch. Jacob makes it through that pesky turn 2 that has been causing him and many others trouble all day. Shepard is now on the outside of Jacob on the backstretch. He appears to be making some ground, as you can see both boats fighting the wind and rough water on the Allegheny. Through 3 and 4, and Shepard elects to take the outside line again and thread the needle under the Fort Duquesne Bridge. Jacob seems to be picking up some ground on McDowell, but he has to worry about that 37 boat that's making up some ground on him. McDowell and Jacob, Shepard is right behind, and turn 2 is again claimed Jacob. He is slow, and here comes Shepard to the inside with under 4 to go. Again, only a few yards apart on rough water at incredible speeds. Jacob outpowers Shepard on the backstretch. But Shepard takes the inside groove out of 4, and here they come down the front stretch. Jacob and Shepard head for turn 1. Can Jacob make it through turn 2 this time? That was better, but Shepard is still filling up his mirror. They're coming up on the left boat of Lee Daniel. Jacob can try to use him to scrape Shepard off his back as they go through 3 and 4. He does just that, and Mark Jacob gets some breathing room here in the final laps of this race. Jeff the Jet Reno has hit the afterburners and is all the way out of turn 2. As he comes up on the 5th place boat of Howie Nichols, the rest of the boats on the lead lap are just now hitting the backstretch. Reno moves alongside of Nichols. Turn 2 just caught Dale Book for the 2nd time today. He kept it going again and kept us under green. That will make this man happy. Jeff Reno crosses the line and sees the white flag. 1 lap to go in an amazing performance from the pride of Okeechobee, Florida, Jeff Reno. We ride with Howie Nichols as he watches the silver 34 of Jeff Reno fly down that backstretch one last time. He has gone from worst to first and bested a class of drivers today that includes our defending series champion, our series points leader, and many veteran drivers who all have to be in awe at this performance. Here he comes, and the fans are all standing and cheering their winner on. Here comes Jeff Reno, the Formula 2 feature race winner at the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta. Donnie McDowell will cross second, and Mark Jacob has held off Jeff Shepard for third. The F2 post-race show is coming up.
The 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta's presentation of Powerboat Superleague Racing has been brought to you by EQT, where energy meets innovation. La Roche College, your lead in life begins at La Roche. By Rivers Casino, this is your casino, Pittsburgh. River Quest Explorer, science, discovery, and adventure in one amazing floating classroom. And by ISM USA, a national leader in sports, event, and cause marketing. Let ISM USA lead the way.
One last time, we welcome you back to the 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta for the Formula 2 post-race show. Mike Tilton is with our third-place finisher. Mike.
Garrett standing here now with third place Mark Jacob, and Mark had a great qualifying run and a couple of good heat races, and then the final starting on the pole, and then things went a little haywire after that.
Yeah, things didn't quite work out from the pole like you think that they would. It's just rough, just trying to hang on to it and go for a ride and try and save the equipment a little bit. Jeff ran a hell of a race coming from the back all the way to the front. He certainly earned the win.
He did indeed. What a fantastic race. Jeff Shepard ran a solid race for a hard-earned 4th place. He is joined by Howie Nichols in the top 5 F2 finishers here in Pittsburgh. Mike is ready in victory lane. Mike.
Hey, thanks, Jared. I'm standing here with the Big Mac, Donnie McDowell, out of Orlando, Florida. He's our runner-up here this afternoon at the Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta, sponsored by EQT. And Donnie, I tell you what, it was a great win for Jeff, but a great runner-up finish for you because you're our 2008 champion, and you're working on that 2009.
Yeah, we had a good finish. Got a decent start. Water got real rough and managed to get by Mark Jacobs, but by that time, Jeff the Jet had come by us, and we made a good run of it. We're proud of a second place finish. Made up a few points this week, and we'll go to Marietta and work on it some more.
Well, your crew chief is from right here in Pittsburgh, and I know Rocky's very happy as well.
That's right. Rocky's nearby Export, PA, and like I told him on the stand up there, this trophy's staying here in Pittsburgh. We'll come back and get one better next year.
Well, congratulations to the Big Mac. Back to you, Jarrett.
Thanks, Mike. The second place finish helped move Donnie McDowell to within 45 points of Mark Jacob, who holds on to his F2 championship points lead. Lee Daniel and Howie Nichols both move up 2 slots, and the guy Mike is with now has moved up to 5th in points. Mike.
Thanks, Jared. I'm standing here now with the man of the hour, the Formula 2 champion here at the EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta, Jeff the Jet Reno. And Jeff, from last to first, you got to have a smile on that face.
Oh, it was great. It was really great. The problems I had this morning after setting the fast qualifying lap and then to start from the end of the dock and make it all the way through it, it was a great feeling.
I tell you, I've been watching Powerboat racing for 30 years, one of the best races I've ever seen, and I know Carol Reno, your wife, was standing there with you the whole time. I saw her just hoping and praying on that dock.
Yeah, she kept trying to talk to me on the radio, and she kept saying, oops, oops, every time the boat would fly over one of the waves and kind of get sideways, but she knew that I could go ahead and get it, keep it on the water.
Well, 19 years racing on the Powerboat Superleague circuit. This is your first win, and boy, what a win right here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I've had a few top 3 finishes, but the first ever win, and as a long 19 years to wait for it. But 19 was always my number up until a couple of years ago, so 19 still my lucky number.
The 2009 EQT Pittsburgh Three Rivers Regatta has been a fantastic event. This weekend has been filled with record-breaking feats of courage and exciting events on the land, air, and of course on the water. Whether it was for the events, for a tasty treat, or for the great music from Three Dog Night and others, hundreds of thousands came to this year's regatta and did not leave disappointed. And what can we say about this year's Powerboat Superleague racing? Brent Dillard dominated the race from the start. He survived the restart after this spectacular wreck and went on to win the Formula 3 season opener. And in the F2s, Jeff the Jet Reno lived up to his nickname, taking the lead from Mark Jacob and going from worst to first to take his first career Super League victory. We leave you now with some of the sights from the EQT Flashes of Freedom Fireworks Fantasia. For Mike Tilton, the award-winning production crew, and everyone with the Powerboat Super League, I'm Jared Romsberg. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to coming back in 2010. Until then, race fans, we'll see you on the water.